Hi, welcome back. I'm Chef Sue Shattuck, and today we're talking everything eggs, kind of an Eggs 101. I'm going to show you how to select, buy, and I'm going to show you how to scramble the perfect egg. So come with me, let's have some fun in my kitchen. So let's start by talking about mise en place. It's a fancy French word which basically means having all of your prep work lined up in front of you. The reason it's important, whether you're cooking for 2 or 32, is if you have your ingredients set in front of you, you're less likely to overlook an ingredient, creating a mistake in your recipe. It also allows things to flow more quickly. So let's talk a minute about what kinds of eggs you want to use when possible. These are farm fresh eggs that I get from my neighbor fresh every day. Makes all the difference to have farm fresh eggs. A lot of you have asked about vegetarian eggs that you can purchase in the store. You do not want to buy vegetarian eggs. Chickens are not vegetarians. Chickens are protein eaters. They eat worms, bugs, mosquitoes, whatever for their protein. It's a natural component to their diet. If they're fed corn, which can be genetically altered, then all of that is passing to you in your food. So always buy farm fresh, organic eggs that are not vegetarian. Another point I want to make about eggs are, just because they say that they're cage-free doesn't mean that they are. Cage-free often means that they're just confined in larger cages, but they're still confined, and it's a cruel way for any animal to exist. You want free range, and by that I mean literally roaming a field on their own, eating those protein items like the earthworms and mosquitoes and bugs and all of that. That's what you're looking for. So when possible, buy organic, free-range eggs locally from a local farmer if you can, or in my case, I'm fortunate enough to have a neighbor that brings them to me every day. I love that part. The other thing I want to mention about the eggs is eggs need to almost always be at or near room temperature before you use them. They just perform better if they're not really cold. Now let's talk for a minute about quality olive oil. There's so many olive oils on the market. About 96% of olive oil sold worldwide are fake. They may have a little bit of pure olive oil content in them, but they have added vegetable oil, canola, who knows what else to it, and it's not a pure olive oil. The olive oil that you buy needs to have a crush date on it. It needs to have an expiration date on it. That way you know when it was harvested and what the shelf life is. It needs to always be stored in a dark bottle and never exposed to heat or light. The other way to test your olive oil to see if it is in fact pure is to take and put it in a small tasting cup. Swirl it around a little bit as if you would a glass of wine, and then take a sip. If it's real olive oil, you're going to have a very slight burn on the back of your palate. That's the phytonutrients, which are antioxidants in olive oil that are a huge cancer fighter. So it's an important component. You'll only find it in a pure olive oil. Do your homework on olive oil. Find a good quality oil and stick with it. You won't be sorry. Now let's talk about the butter, one of the ingredients in your scrambled eggs. Always use real butter, never margarine. Margarine is just oil and it's entirely unhealthy for you. Choose a high-fat butter, something like Kerrygold or Plusra or Presidente. Do your homework on that as well and choose a butter that is high-fat and good quality. You can also make your own with heavy cream. It only takes about 3 minutes, which is always better to make it yourself. You know what's in it and what's not. So, how do you make the perfect scrambled eggs? As I stated before, you want to start with farm fresh eggs if possible, and they need to be at or near room temperature, which means let them sit out about 20 minutes. It's a safe period of time to sit out. They'll be fine. For 4 scrambled eggs, which will feed about 2 people, you need, of course, 4 eggs, and then you want about a teaspoon of salt, or less if you prefer, and about a half teaspoon of black pepper. Fresh cracked is always better. You need about 2 tablespoons of your favorite olive oil, and you need a clean plate or bowl close by to transfer the eggs to stop the cooking process when you remove them from the heat. So come with me, let me show you how it's done. So we've added our butter now, and the most important tip I need to leave with you in this video is this. When scrambling eggs, never whisk them. I know it's popular, most people do it, even chefs do it, but you shouldn't. Whisking the eggs robs them of the viscosity. The viscosity is what makes the eggs flavorful, makes them fluffier and light, and when you whisk them, you're whisking air into them that replaces that viscosity. So remember, never whisk your eggs, just add them to your pan one at a time, and then gently burst the yolk with your spatula. I'll show you how. Now we're adding our eggs in one at a time. Each time you use your ingredients and your mise en place, set the empty bowl aside. That way you know that you've already added that ingredient and you haven't overlooked anything. We're going to let these eggs, it almost looks as if they're frying. They're not. We're not going to let them get to that point. Now we're going to take our spatula and gently burst the yolks. What we're looking for is a nice sheen to the eggs. Once they become shiny, almost translucent, they're ready. And you want to remove them from the pan to stop the cooking process. Notice I'm using a nonstick pan. I'm not a big fan of nonstick. I use stainless, but eggs is definitely something that is beneficial in nonstick. All right, we're going to add our salt and pepper. Use your hands to sprinkle it in. That way you have a better gauge of how much you've added. All right, these eggs are done, and we're going to transfer them to a clean bowl. These eggs, like all things, will continue cooking, what we call carryover cooking, after you remove them from the heat. The internal temperature continues to rise at about 1 degree per minute, so let them sit in the bowl for a few minutes to the doneness that you desire, then plate them up. So we have light, fluffy eggs with sausage for healthy protein. We have healthy fats and fresh avocado, some fresh fruit, and some bread, bakery fresh with no preservatives. So there you have it, the 101 on eggs. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button so you're notified for upcoming videos. Thanks for joining me in my kitchen today. Come again. Salute.